Old Man Sarge back again, filming another gameplay or battle report. This time we're going to do War of the Ring. I've got actually two other people, or actually three other people, and two cats apparently, going to show up to play War of the Ring, so I'm going to get that set up, and we'll go through the gameplay on that, and we'll let you know how things go. And the other thing is, I would like to actually play a game of Kings of War. It won't look very good because I don't really have a lot of painted armies, but I'd like to give it a shot. So that's another future project of mine, and I'll be going through the book in the future. But for now, be ready. We're going to go through a game of War of the Ring. This game is really good. It's put out by Ares Games, and you have one side that is obviously Mordor and Isengard and the Easterlings trying to destroy the world of men and stop the Ring of Power from being destroyed. The other side is either trying to destroy the Ring of Power or actually win on a military combat, which is possible but difficult. So we'll go through, I'll show you the board and we'll talk a little bit more maybe. But right now I'm going to get it set up, and hopefully my cats won't destroy everything in the process. So on turn one, this Old Man Sarge, not much has occurred.
We still got piles of dice to you.
Armies moved up, and Boromir is trying to get Gondor into the fight, and Merry's trying to get the North into the fight. There's one more dice for each side to play, or two more for our side, one for theirs. I'm playing the evil side this game. So we'll be back on turn 2 to let you know what happened then.
Because we didn't put anything in there.
Here we are on turn 2.
Yeah.
We got some orcs moving. I think they don't look very good there, my friend. They're like falling over and everything. And then we have the Easterlings moving over to assist Dol Guldur. We have an army of Isengard moving up. We have Isengard, Saruman has been recruited. And we have a bigger army. Gondor's building a big army in Dol Amroth. And let's see. What else? Oh, Gondor's at war already. And the North is about ready to get at war, and they're activated. So there's only 3 up at the top. They got the Rohan, the Dwarves. The Elves are activated, but they haven't moved at all. And Isengard hasn't, or Easterlings haven't moved up. And there we are on turn 2. We'll be moving on to turn 3. We'll let you know how that all turns out. All right, this is turn 3, and the main thing that happened is Lorien was invaded with an army that came both from Dol Guldur and from Moria, goblins, and there was one Isengard wolf rider that joined them. He got there through the use of a card, and the battle went down to 1 elf remaining, and there is 4 orcs remaining. And that's the end of the battle before we go on to the next round. Otherwise, it was just positioning on the board. The elves are at war now, and so is Gondor. And the North is almost at war. The dwarves and Rohan are not. And this card was played, which stops any unactive unit or being able to muster any active force. And the Fellowship is 2 spaces away from where they started. And now we are moving on to turn 4, correct? Turn 4. And we're on end of turn 4, and the main thing that occurred is Lorien fell. Now it took a number of attacks because nobody could roll good enough dice rolls. The Balrog has been brought into play. The elves and Elrond. Elrond's like, well, I guess since Lorien fell, maybe I'll recruit some more troops. The North is recruiting a few more. Rohan can now advance, but they're still pacifists. They don't think the war is going to really affect them. And same with the dwarves. Gondor is active, and they have been building up. And that army marker there, right there, represents that force there, which is 10. We are now going to be moving on to turn 5, and most everybody is ready to go to war. For the Easterlings are not in yet, and Rohan and the dwarves are not in. Otherwise, everyone else is at war. And I guess the last thing to discuss is how far the companions or the fellowship's at 4. Nobody seems to be able to discover them.
3.
So they're at 3. So they're probably in Moria right now. Maybe. Or maybe they're going around the other way. We'll be back at the end of turn 5. So what happened this round?
This thing, and if they drive, that's what it does.
Well,
nothing.
they're moving closer to
But it only
Gondor.
comes in when we.
So Gothmog has
So it's
built
worth
up
it, or-
an army of
Yes.
10.
Oh,
That's how we win.
okay.
So
Well, that's why I'm
This
asking.
is a
I didn't
card for you.
understand it. Oh,
the board really hasn't changed that much. It's more or less moving. Although I will say that the fellowship was revealed in Old Ford,
okay,
and
this is the one I was trying to
now the King of the
I can't play
Wraith
this one.
The bottom one you can't.
Wraith Rings.
Oh.
What?
Ring Wraith.
Ring Race has been recruited as well. And apparently the Fellowship has decided they want to go find out. They're following the trek of the Hobbit. They're going to go over the north before they actually decide to get rid of the ring.
That's legit.
So they're going to go check out the Lonely Mountain or something like that in their little travels. Frodo wants to see what Bilbo had done. So, and that's where we end up. We are moving on to turn 6.
Holiday.
Okay, so the Northmen are building up in Lake Town against the Easterlings. And they did shoot some arrows at them. They went out with some rangers and killed a few Easterlings. The Fellowship and the Witch King are chasing each other around. Or I should say, the Witch King's chasing them around.
Fire! They got fire!
Rohan's still not active. The dwarves are still not active. Aragorn's running down south. He's going to become probably the king soon. There's 2 big armies. That army is in the Dead Marshes still, and then Gothmog has built a large army. And that's really where we ended on turn 6. Now we are moving on to turn 7.
Well, after they go, it's their turn.
We're almost at the end of turn
yeah,
then we can't
7.
vote, right. Dang it. Okay.
And maybe it's
I
end of turn 6, I
need to
guess.
give you a card that you need to hold on to. Though.
Just kind of building up and maneuvering.
So just think about that.
Easterlings got a big force against the Northmen who have a big force. Gandalf is in Fangorn hanging out, waiting for stuff to happen. The Easterlings did move up.
The king returned.
The king, Aragorn, is in the city.
The steward is thrown from the
Yeah.
pier.
Oh, did you upgrade Aragorn?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Strider is now Aragorn. The Fellowship is still like, uh-oh, there's Ringwraith hanging out. We gotta go hide. And yeah, so there we are at the end of turn 6, I'm being told. We'll be moving on to turn 7.
Do we want to?
We're ending turn 7.
Wanna do
Why
an elite?
don't
The
you
allies are mustering
a
right
guy
now.
there and
There's
there's a
a
leader
pretty big army in the
for
north
enemy.
with Gilmy
so you can reroll someday?
defending
Lower?
in
the
Lake
lower,
Town
yeah.
versus the Easterlings.
Not a leader up here because you can
That
reroll
army
it.
right
Yeah.
there is the Balrog's
6
army,
dice,
but
right?
he
Like a
stayed
leader
in
and
Moria
a
because
normal
he's
guy?
scared.
Or 2 normal guys, whatever you think is better.
Isengard declared war on Rohan,
I mean,
moved
Normal
in.
guys are how you live, so that
Um,
might be legit, but
Easterlings.
a leader is
like
pretty
are-
good too.
I kind of feel like the elite guys are really good.
Oh wow,
Or put an
Parker.
elite there. That's fine. Yeah.
So the Easterlings
If
are
they
ready
keep
to
the
go.
other ones,
There's
that's
2
right.
big armies,
Are those worth?
and
They've got-
so we
there's
are-
3 points in the south.
the
but they're
Fellowship
ways
is
away
in
from
the Woodland
that,
Realm
so we
right
can always
now.
do that later. Get an elite. That's fine. That's
And
Rohan, though.
they have only
There you go.
one little
Would they
hobbit
take one other one
besides the
left?
Fellowship in
That's
the
perfect.
Fellowship now. All right, this is the end of turn what? 7. So end of turn 7. Armies are facing off there. They each have 10. Helm's Deep is under attack by number 1 army, that army. Aragorn sitting in Erebus all by himself, and that army there has kind of moved out, but it hasn't gone anywhere since. And the Easterlings are kind of building up against
This one.
Lake Town still,
Can you just take it?
Really? That's fine.
and the Fellowship is hidden, but they're still sitting up in the Woodland Realm. And that's where we ended on turn 7. We're moving on to turn 8. While people are figuring out what to do on the end of turn 8, the Northmen have been building up against the Easterlings. The Fellowship is sitting in the Woodland Realm, drinking
I couldn't remember what you
wood
did.
elf tea.
What did I do? What?
The Helm's Deep
Recruited.
is under siege. Aragorn is sitting in Edoras on the throne. He thinks he's the king of Rohan now. And not much else is going on. The elves are kind of building up. So that's where we end at the end of turn 8. There might be a little few adjustments, but that's what the board looks like. And then we'll be back at the end of turn 9. Old Man Sarge back again. We are at the end of turn 9. We're moving on to turn 10. And Helm's Deep fell. And now they're moving on to threaten the main city here of Edoras. And these armies are just still staring at each other. And there's a couple armies up north staring at each other. And we have 4 victory points for the bad side, but and then how much corruption? 5? Wow, 5 corruption. We're going to turn Frodo to the good side. Well, yeah, our side, which is the good side. He's going to bring the ring back to and apologize for stealing it, or for not putting it in Lost and Found for the rightful owner. All right, we'll be back at the end of turn 10.
Yeah.
Why would you ever go with no horse?
Okay,
He's
Ladies
actually
and
the same
gentlemen.
movement.
Edoras has
Undead
fallen
horse.
to the Wolf Riders. There's one little guy running away with his leader.
I should not send
There's a huge army here that killed the Witch King,
Okay.
so they should be pretty happy about that. And that is Army 1, so it is this army right there with Gimli in charge of it. Gimli killed him,
No.
and those armies are still staring at each other. And the victory points right now are 6 victory points. And the corruption, oh, look at the beautiful corruption. It is 7 corruption points. We're so close to Frodo joining the good side. Well, I mean the bad side. And we will be back at the end of turn 11. And we're moving to turn 12 now,
if you really don't want to,
finishing
it's fine.
turn 11. And Erebus has fallen to the Easterlings. There's a big army there still, and there's some armies moving north into the Woodland Realm. And Minas Tirith is still under siege. And there's only 2 victory points needed for the bad side, and there's quite a bit of corruption for the good side. So we might be able to get them
Is
to
that
12.
Is that something
And
good?
we'll be back
The top part?
I
at
think
the end
top
of
part
turn
is 'cause it
12.
adds time.
And folks, we are at the end of turn 12. Flip that to 13. And right now, it looks to me like the Fellowship is on the way to try to destroy the ring. Their corruption is quite high. They've been healing their corruption, but you can't see it behind there, but it's an 8. And there's a lot of good tiles for the bad side in there. That army right there is ready to go into the Woodland Realm. That army is in Erebos. There's an army down here, and the victory points are 7. It's a close game. And so here we are heading into turn 13. We'll do another
So do we still need to move to get in there, or are
slow
we good?
scan so you can see the
We're gonna
board.
declare, but we still have to move on the track, which
Okay.
is how we win the game.
End of turn 13.
Okay. So we're at the end of turn 13, moving to 14. Minas Tirith has fallen. Aragorn's got a huge army, and there's a big army of Nazguls and Easterlings right next to him. And there's a big army up by Legolas, or not Legolas, the Woodland Realm. And then there is a big army still left defending Lake Town. And the Fellowship is 3 spaces away from the Crack of Doom. And their corruption is what level?
8.
8. So it's actually a really close game. We'll see how this all turns out. We'll be right back at the end
to roll
of turn
3 moves.
14.
We'll have some explaining to do.
All right, this is the last turn. It was turn 4. What turn was it? 14? We ended at turn 14. Basically, this army here, along with an Easterling army, kept attacking Perigord, which is where Aragorn was, and they eventually wiped out the forces there. So that puts the bad side at 10 victory points, so they win. Just scanning up here, you can see that the Fellowship is 2 away from the Crack of Doom, and in fact, the dice that the good side rolled were horrible, and so they were only able to move 1 space with their dice. If they would have got just different dice rolls, they would have won the game. That's how close this was. The Balrog charged in with an army. This army's gone.
Pretty scary.
They charged in with an army, and they attacked
Bard Dale.
Dale, and everybody killed each other except for Merry survived because of his card says that he just retreats. But the Balrog died, and Gimli. Gimli died putting what Gandalf did, I guess, in the movies. Gimli did in this movie. And the Woodland Realm didn't do anything. They just sat around inside the Woodland Realm, closed off their gates, and just said,
Fuck it.
yeah, done with the world. And yeah, that's the end of... These guys just stared at each other. There was no combats. So yeah, that is War of the Ring. So we just completed this game in 14 turns. It was pretty interesting, and it could have gone either way, honestly. It was just bad luck on the good side on the final dice rolls. And if the bad side wasn't able to take it, I think the good side would have won. But if you'd like to roll the dice just to see, the command dice, I want to just see, interesting, if they would have been able to get enough movement.
Roll it like
Then we would have said one more turn, and
no.
Still no. Still no. They would have been 1 space away from the Crack of Doom. You gotta love the game. Okay, the bad side actually used all their cards in the game.
Next time we're getting rid of that stupid card thing.
The Palantir was very powerful for Isengard. That's who had it this game, and I just kept drawing cards. And most other cards... Oh, there's 2 other cards that the good side had that were good. One of them disallowed anybody... It was Bombardier, or what's his name?
Tom Bombadil.
Bombadil. He had disallowed any bad side from coming into the Shire. And there was another card that was for the elves in the Elrond, Rivendell, and the Grey Havens. So it pretty much took this whole northern region out of the conflict. So the conflict was all up here around Dale and Erebos, and Lothlorien fell early in the game, and then the final combats took place with Gondor, and down here, although Dol Amroth never actually fell in the game. So that is War of the Ring, the way that we played it this time. It was really fun. I think everybody enjoyed it, and we'll maybe record another one in the future. So this is Old Man Sarge signing off. Thanks for watching, and we'll leave your comments if you like the video or not, or what you might like to see differently. Okay, bye.